As the holidays get closer, air travel is once again that big topic of conversation. And this year, that is especially true due to the government shutdown. Since the shutdown began, which was October 1st, more than 5 million passengers have already been affected. Now, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy gave some insight into what travelers can expect in the coming days.
I've had questions about what happens for Thanksgiving. There's a lot of Thanksgiving travel. What's going to happen during that time frame? I'm going to tell you, we are not going to get to Thanksgiving. You're going to see this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Big disruption thus far, massively more disruption as we come into the weekend if the government doesn't open.
According to FlightAware, as of Tuesday afternoon, more than 1,200 flights had already been canceled, following over 2,400 cancellations on Monday alone.
This has all been data-based. We've seen incursions on runways. We've seen loss of separation in the airspace, and we've seen heightened complaints by pilots of the communication they're having with air traffic controllers. When this information goes in the wrong direction, we have to make decisions to keep people safe.
So how exactly does the government shutdown impact flying? And I think that's everyone's question. So even though FAA traffic controllers are required to keep working, many are doing so without pay. And some have started taking more sick leave or they're not showing up at all. At one point, the FAA reported that nearly 80% of controllers in the New York area facilities were absent. Nationally, there's already a shortage about 2,000 to 3,000 controllers below target staffing levels.
We have some controllers who are put in a very difficult position. They're young. They don't make a lot of money when they first start out. They can make some good money later in their careers, but when they start out, they're not making a lot. They may be the sole source of income. And they were confronted with a real problem. Do I not feed my family? Or do I try to find another pathway to put food on the table? And that was very real. And I'm cognizant of that. I don't want to be unfair to people, and that was what they were confronted with. I also want to look and say, do we have a continual bad actors? Were some controllers from the very beginning, when they hadn't missed a paycheck, had they started to take time off because the shutdown was an excuse for them? We'll look at those people and we'll work with the union and see what an appropriate response from the FAA will be.
Here's what one pilot had to say last week over the intercom during a flight out of New York City.
This is costing the airline millions of dollars. And just think of 30 airplanes with one engine running. It's going to take us at least 90 minutes to take off. So it's frustrating. But right now we're at a 4% reduction in flight capacity. Next week we go to 10. Last night I had a 6-hour delay in Houston. And the weather was perfect. It's because the air traffic controllers aren't getting paid.
The FAA has since announced plans to cut air traffic volume by about 10% in high demand markets to keep the system running safely. And it's not just the FAA. The TSA is also affected, meaning longer security lines and slower screenings, which can make delays even worse. So how has President Trump responded to all of this air travel chaos? Well, on Truth Social, Trump ordered air traffic controllers back to work immediately, warning that anyone who refuses, quote, will be substantially docked. And he praised those who kept working without pay as, quote, great patriots, promising each a $10,000 bonus, but criticized those who called in sick, saying they'd get no severance and would be quickly replaced by true patriots. In the Oval Office, he did mention that new upgrades would be coming, though.
We're getting the most sophisticated, all brand new. Every control tower will have the same exact system. It'll be the most sophisticated system by far in the world.
But that plan isn't entirely new. It was first announced back in May. And at the time, Duffy said the modernization would enhance safety, reduce delays, and give controllers, quote, a system they can rely on and deserve. On Tuesday, Duffy did confirm that controllers will be paid within 24 to 48 hours once the government reopens, receiving about 70% of back pay right away and the rest within a week. But even when the shutdown ends, aviation experts say travelers shouldn't expect an immediate fix. Airlines for America, which represents major U.S. carriers like American, Delta, Southwest, and United, says recovery is going to take time. In a statement, they said, quote, reduced flight schedules cannot immediately bounce back to full capacity right after the government reopens. Now, even with the government reopening, delays and cancellations are likely to linger well into the holiday season. For continuing coverage on the shutdown and its impact on air travels, head to our channel's The National Desk.